Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our journey, an idea to MVP in 6 weeks' time. In our last video, we showed you how to share an idea with the team. So we discussed the idea with the team to say that we are going to be developing a solution in 6 weeks' time, a minimum viable product. And we saw their reactions. Following that, we shared the project brief with them, and today we are going to be discussing with the team what are the core functionalities which we can put in this MVP. Now, it's very important to identify your core functionality and not go after everything you want in that product. You need enough functionality for this product or solution to work, but don't overload it, because this is going to be a product at a state where you will see your core functionalities in action, and then you will learn from that, and your future functionalities could be decided on what you know about the product and what you have learned along the way. Maybe your customer feedbacks will change certain things, and maybe some of the functionality is too big to include in the MVP, or some of the functionality is not even needed. So this is very important part, to have a healthy conversation with the team. This is part of the ideation process. And before you create a clickable prototype or go into the design or the architecture, you need to identify your core functionality. So before I cue them into this call, my team, I want you to give a few tips about how to do to approach this kind of call. You just go and you do an overview of your project idea again, and at this point your team should have had the brief for the project, so they should have had enough time to study that, and they should be able to give some ideas of functionalities which are involved. So after you give them a brief again, just as a refresher, you open the floor for any comments or any ideas from anyone, and then you start making a list of all the functionalities. Once you start making a list of functionalities, capture everything they have said, and then we move to the next stage. The next stage is categorize. So what is really needed, or what we can push to a version 2, and what we can discard altogether. And then that will give you your short list of all the functionalities which you need in the MVP. So let's cue them in. Let's talk to the team and see how it goes for us for the Skill Sinker project, which we would like to deliver as a minimum viable product in 6 weeks' time. This is the first week. This is the ideation week, and this is part of our ideation process. Let's get the team to join. Thank you. Everyone, thank you very much for joining this call. Following our previous conversation about the new project, where we set a target of 6 weeks for delivering an idea to the MVP stage in 6 weeks' time. Following that call, I have shared a brief with you all, and I'm hoping that you have gone through that brief. Today, what we will do is we will decide on the MVP's functionality today. So in this call, I will ask everyone what your thoughts are on the project brief. But before I do that, I will go through the highlights of the project. So it just serves as a little refresher for you guys. And then if you have any questions, you can ask questions. And then Bilal will actually start a list where we can actually put functionalities which you think are required for this solution. So are we ready for this?
Yes, sir. We are ready.
Yes,
Everyone,
sir.
give me a thumbs up. We're ready?
Perfect.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you very much. So as I mentioned, it's an education, an app for the education sector, which is parent-centric. So from your briefs, you might have seen it, but the app is supposed to be parent-centric, so empowering parents to manage their own qualification records or their children's qualification records, but more importantly, that their children qualification records and their active enrollments as well, where they are enrolled. So the app would have like two things to offer to parents. One would be their own educations and their children educations and the historic educations, and one would be what is their live education, what are they involved in at the moment. That could be a school, that could be a football club, a cricket club, a tuition center. They are actively in at the moment, and the parent can actually add to those records the achievements, the curriculum, anything like that. So that's the parent is able to do all of these things on the app, so they can monitor the records of their children, and they can also look at the historic records, and they will have tips and information coming from the app for the education pathways and stuff like that. Now on this app, there is some innovation space there, especially in terms of how we deal with how can we power this with AI, and how can we get AI generated pathways for education depending on all the information about the person. There is some room for innovation. On the skill provider or the education provider, the application will be allowing them to do a few things. So one of the things is which is at the moment the education providers don't have, is the central application for everything. So some schools are using the meal booking system separately, their extracurricular activities being booked separately, their classrooms and homeworks are going either on Google Classroom or some other platform. Their communication with the parent is not central. They sometimes send emails, sometimes the apps which they have, and there will be some notifications, and sometimes they give phone calls, which makes their life hard, and it's either very manual system or not very manual, but then it's scattered. The information is scattered in different bits. So these are the challenges which we are trying to address for the education and skill providers. And what they will see with us on this product is going to be a one-stop shop or one solution for the whole of their institution to run. So they can basically have all their students in there, all their teachers, all their classes, everything around that in that one place, and they can if there are certain things needs to be paid and stuff, that needs to come straight from the parents on the application. They can manage all of these things from that one application. So there's two groups of people who are benefiting from them: the parents / individuals, the skill providers / education / the educators. It could be a school, tuition, anything, you name it. But as long as it's a skill or a development which is happening, that is what it will be doing. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So now I know you guys have seen the detailed brief. There will be bits which you pick up from there. There will be questions and suggestions and objections there. But let's go through one by one of your thoughts. And while you're giving your thoughts to me, because the aim of this call today is to get the functionality which is the minimum requirement to deliver this idea or solution. And then we decide on that and we start working on prototyping that. So while you give me your thoughts, you can flag up one or two functionalities which you think are important, and Bilal will start making a list of all the functionalities, and then we will shortlist out of that what we need to have in our MVP. Who wants to go first?
So, as per you describe the whole thing, the whole project overview. So, the question in my mind, like, if there is any possibility, like, to parent, uh, if they enroll their child in any like a school or any like a courses. So, if there is any possibility to he or she can pay their child fees by using our app.
Yes. So that could be, yeah, that could be one functionality to enable parents to do payments for the tuitions and stuff, which or maybe in the school, if the schools are free, then whatever, if there is an extra activity or something they need to pay for. So yes, payment could be one functionality, and we can make a note of that as a functionality from parent side. Please go ahead and make a note of that.
All right.
Right, Shahryar, go for it.
Since you mentioned that there will be institutions that these educators will be from basically getting the details of the institutions and stuff like that. So I was having that in mind. Will we be in contact of to those institutions? Will we have them in our pool and be like, have them registered with us, and then obviously they can manage all of these things from that part?
Yes. So Shahryar, the thing is, there will be certain qualifications that the parent or the individuals add to their list where the institution is not registered with us, okay? And those qualifications are fine. They can register it and they can have it as a record. However, the main idea of this solution is that we have those institutions on our platform. And if we have them on our platform, then all of that communication becomes easy, and all of those qualifications become verified by that institution. So, yes, the question was, would we have the institutions on our platform? Yes, we will have, and that's why the solution is two-part. One is from the parent side, and one is from the the skill or the education provider side. I hope that answered the question.
Sure,
yes, by the way, you can Bilal, you can capture it as one of a functionality to add an institutions basically.
Sir, since you said that the parents would be able to look over their child's progress and all, so would our app provide the possibility to communication between a parent and a separate teacher, the teacher that is teaching their child? Like, would the parent would be able to directly communicate with the teacher using our app?
Okay, so you're talking about direct messaging or talking through the app. Now, we can have it as one of the functionality, because this will make teachers' life easy and the students' life easy, but it will have to be protected in a way that the communications are not completely private, and the school administration can at any point see these communications, because these has to be the education's communications, anything to do with their improvement, anything to do with their skill levels, and and yes, we can have this as a messaging or an active communication platform as well with the parents and the teachers. So makes sense. Bilal, do you want to make a note of this as a functionality which we can probably think about and consider?
All right, sir.
Okay, please. Thank you, Shozab. Who wants to go next?
I have a question. Would we be allowing the same users to, for example, according to the brief, we have two applications. One is for the educators, the skill providers, basically, and one is for the users, parents or students, whatever we decide they would be. So can it be like that we have a user with the same account, but on both applications?
So it's a good question, Daniel, there. I mean, the schools would have their own staff and the levels of, so a teacher or maybe administrator of the school, and then super admins and all that. But nothing is stopping from a skill provider who, so let's say if someone was giving some piano lessons, yeah, and they are a parent there, they've got their child, but they're also a skill provider and have 5, 6, or 10 students. It would be a good idea. It would be a good idea to enable an account to become an education provider. So it's like a mode of an account. So if somebody is just signed up as a parent, and somebody is able to have a business account or a skill provider account on our platform. It would be a good idea, I think. Bilal, if we can capture that as a functionality, please. Yes, Tayyab.
Sir, I do have a suggestion rather than a question. So basically, as we are talking about the parents or the guardians, that they are going to, they will be able to add qualifications or anything about themselves and their children. But what if we do this, that when a child of any parent would cross a certain age limit, for example 18, and they can have their own account, and they can add their own you can say the children or their brothers or sisters, so that they can track their progress.
Would be brilliant idea. That's amazing. Thank you, Tayyab. So yes, this can be the case, because as a parent, you will the app will allow, or the system will allow for the children their education to be managed up until certain age. Now after that, they can claim, let's say, I would say not create a new account and then transfer the stuff, but it could be the same account, but they claim with their own user ID and stuff, and they will be, I'm thinking if we put in a process in place for how they do that, then in a safe process, so that people are not like, claiming other people's accounts. So a safe process, backed by some verifications and stuff, and they can manage their own account. But it would be a good idea if we can have that as a functionality. That would be amazing. Thank you, Tayyab. Bilal, can you make a note of that as well, please?
Yes, sir. I write it down.
All right, good stuff. Thank you. So who wants to go next?
Just another question, like following up, like as you mentioned that we'd be registering skill providers. So are you saying that we would be allowing our app to get the freelance educators as well registered on our platform as well?
Yes. So the idea is that any educator, basically anyone, even if a person is teaching one student, that's also an educator or a skill provider or a skill developer. And an institution with hundreds of students is also an institution. Of course, there will be some differences in the levels of access and stuff they will have, but essentially the idea is any skill provider should be able to join the platform as either as an individual skill provider or as an institution, and then add to the record of a student which is enrolled with them on their courses. Shows up. So I think we have that captured, but Bilal, if we haven't just captured that as a point that we can enroll as a full institution or as an individual.
Okay.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? Let's hear it from Asmer, Husna, or Nilofer. Someone. What do you guys think about the requirements?
The requirements, we should have a requirement for notifications and tips and info as well. because once someone is using from our platform, they should know how to use the platform, and there should be some tips for them, so they can whenever they want to add their children for some specific institutions, whenever they see that the child is not eligible for that institution, so there should be a tips and information for them, so that they can manage and they can find a way so that their child be eligible for that institutions.
So you're talking about eligibility criteria in terms of if someone wants to request an enrollment with an institution, that and if the institution have certain eligibility criteria for that course,
So
then
we
they are able to see it and they are able to satisfy it in a certain way.
there should be some tips and informations for them, guiding them so that they can help their child themselves, so that they can join the institute.
Okay, so you're a functionality. I'm trying to see where would this would fit into a functionality where an enrollment is requested. So an enrollment is requested, and then they see some information around that enrollment. But Bilal, if you can capture requesting enrollment from the parent side or from the individual side, can you capture that as a functionality?
The criteria they are going to enroll, or
No, just enrollment in itself. We haven't noted down as a functionality, requesting enrollment to an institution. All right. So what have you got on the list, Bilal, at the moment so far?
all right, so we receive one like a requirement from the Joseph, that is adding an institute in educator side, and after that we receive a second option, that is a parent and teacher like a direct messaging each other, and the third is like individual or complete institution going to register on our platform. So these are the things. And also from my question is if there is any like option to add a payment option to pay their fees, like a parent are able to pay their child fees. So these four requirements are.
Okay, so we talked about these four, but let's go to the parent side for the time being. Adding a child, would that not be a functionality for someone to add a child to their list?
Yeah, it is a requirement.
It is a requirement, but do we capture it as a functionality or not?
Not now.
So just put it on your list, please.
All
So
right.
we did that. Tips and information coming into this system, would that be a functionality which we need to put in?
It can be something that we add up, but as part for the very first version, I don't think that is a very necessary thing.
Mhm.
We can look into it because as you mentioned that we would be making use of AI and stuff, so that makes this thing a pretty big deal. Like where we would be showing this sort of information through the information or tips or tricks, anything like that. Maybe we can have the option for the parents to communicate with our bot and chat, like give us a guideline of how we bring up the child to a certain prerequisite for an institution, and maybe the bot can reply them with a certain list of courses that do this, and then you will be qualified to apply for this and something like that. But saying that, this makes it a pretty big module, something I don't think we should approach for in the MVP.
Okay, so thank you, Daniel. Okay, Bilal, if you can make a note of it, and we will think about this. I think you're right, Danny. I think the AI part of the information and tips we can develop in version 2. But in the MVP, we can fit in information, tips and information coming from institutions, and some information which can be presented to the parents depending on the age group and on their children. We can have that information part done in the MVP, but not AI powered, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So make a note of it, Bilal, please. Let's have it like that in the MVP. Okay, so we've got the parent adding children and then adding education, enrolling them, sending enrollment requests, and then adding their qualifications, and then we have payment. They can set up, have a balance added to a wallet or something, and then pay from there. So these are the kind of functions we will have on the parent side. On the education provider side, I know we spoke about quite a few things, but I didn't hear anything about would adding and enrolling children or students, would that be a functionality or not? That would be a functionality, isn't it? And then
Yes,
adding teachers, would that be a functionality?
Yes.
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 And then course material or stuff around that, can we capture that as a functionality maybe?
Mhm.
Yeah. So and then I don't know, but if you guys can tell me, how do we put these things then together to create classes out of them, or certain things which then the teachers can have as a deliverable? So do you think something is needed as a functionality to then put all of these parts together?
Yes, sir. I think we would be we need to create a class for them, like to get the teachers and the students enrolled into it.
Okay, all right. So that makes sense. So then you have an institution, and then you have its classes, but the classes can only be created out of
Once the
the other
institution
components.
Start looking at a perspective of two applications separately. One, like we considered this to be educator and parents for the time being, and what we can do is if Sir Bilal has the list of requirements, if he can provide me that, I will create a minor flow of some sort for all these requirements, as detailed as it can. With the current information that we have, that way we would have a brief idea of how we should approach every requirement. Should it be a whole module? Should it be a part of something bigger? Should it be a part of the application at all or not at the time, and stuff like that. We can start with what seems to be most important to me, basically, is the consumers or the customers of a system, and that makes the parent app a bigger priority. So if you allow me, I'll start with there, and hopefully we can come up with something to do once we get those requirements set up.
So what we'll do is identify our main functionalities from in today's call, and then from there will be two things. The front end and back end team will go ahead and identify what sort of tools and tech stack you guys are going to be working on, and the back end as well. And the creative team will go ahead and create the UIs in line with those functionalities. So we will then be prepared for our next week, which is going to be more like the design of the system. So we are tackling it from three sides, but the most important one for this week to achieve would be in line with these functionalities. What are the screens we're going to have, and what is going to be our clickable prototype, and how is it going to look like? The clickable prototype might overflow to next week because it could change with some design work which you guys will be doing. Shall we let's confirm our functionality which we want to capture, and then we will move on to the next stage. So Bilal, if you can start reading, and then we say that whether we have that functionality as part of MVP or not. Start reading out everything you have so far, which we have discussed so far in the call. Go ahead, please, Bilal.
Okay, so as per the parent side, we discuss 6 functionality. That is, a parent are able to adding their previous data. The second one is enrolling into a school. Third thing is managing their wallet. And the fourth thing is adding their child. And the fifth one is getting a notification and the sixth is see tips and the information. So we might be thinking about this is the second version, this requirement going for the second version. And for the educator side, there is also a sixth requirement.
So let's
that
talk about this one first. So the only thing which you have excluded so far is the one which we talked about, the tips and information being AI powered at this stage.
Yes.
And then the rest of the functionality we have left it there, which adds up to be 6 functions at this point. Yeah, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's move to the education and skill providers. What do we have on that side at the moment?
All right. So on the educator side, we have a 6 requirement as well. First of all, educator are able to adding or creating an institute in their side as well. And the second part is adding a teacher. Third thing is adding a children. And the fourth thing is adding a course material. And the fifth and the important thing is creating a class. So after that, there is a sixth thing is that is a admin privileges, like a super admin, simple admin, and the other admins as well. So these are the 6 requirements for the educator side.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. What will be outstanding from this at this stage? It looks like is going to be the details in the class when the class is created, like maybe the attendance and stuff, maybe capturing certain different types of activities and stuff, which might be going to the second version of the app. But it seems like these are the functionalities which we can which we think we can fit into this MVP. Are we all in agreement with this? Is there any comments about these functionalities? Anyone wants to add anything to this?
No.
No, sir. I think this.
No, sir. I
fine.
think that should be good to go for the MVP.
Yes.
Okay, so we have 6 functionalities of each, just to wrap up, that we have decided on today. 6 for the parents app and 6 for the educator or the education providers side. And we are also talking about 2 applications, 2 separate applications. So one is going to be an application for the parent side. And just to get this right, what are we thinking in terms of having these both applications on mobile, or are we thinking different applications at the moment?
Sir, in perspective, I would like to say that we would like to have portability for the parents. Like they want to have access to this sort of detail whenever they want, like at home, while driving, going to office, anything like that. So that would be more appropriate for the parents. But for the educators, we are like it's mentioned that they have privileges and they have admin capabilities and they're managing stuff. So it's basically a CRM. And having that sort of system on a mobile device would not be proper. So I would suggest that we shift the educator system to the web for the time being. We can have it both ways, but for now, it would be easier for us to implement and it would be easier to use as well, until we come up with solid requirements and shift certain features to phone as well.
Okay, so your suggestion is that we keep the education providers side on the web app, and the parents ones, because they're always mobile and they will need an app. So we have an app for the parent side. Is everyone in agreement with that?
Yes, sir. I agree.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's lock these few details. Okay, these are the details which we lock in this call, and then we work out how we achieve it. So we are aiming for an app, a mobile phone app for parents, and then we are aiming for a web app for the skill providers or the education providers. These are the two base requirements for the MVP. And these two parts should be interacting with each other's in order to call it an MVP. So a parent being able to achieve six functionalities, being able to add a child or children, being able to add qualification to themselves or qualifications of their children, being able to enroll a child into an institution or themselves into an institution, being able to see information, tips and information which are coming from institutions or other sources, being able to get notifications on any changes or anything which is happening from the institution side or other places. And also the final one, the number 6, is going to be the
Wallet
payment. So they would have some sort of payment wallet in the app which they can top up and they can pay for things from there. That's one side, that's parents app. And the second one we are talking about is the education providers app. So what we are saying here is that we will have a web app which will enable the skill provider to achieve 6 functionalities essentially. The first one would be to add or enroll students. Second one is add or have teachers on the platform or other staff. Third one is going to be to add some course material. If they say, like, let's say we have got this subject, and this subject, and they can have some course material for each of that being added. And then the fourth one is going to be to put these 3 components together. The students in a class, and then a teacher being assigned or teachers being assigned to the class, materials being assigned to the class, essentially putting all of them together into classes, so creating classes basically. So that's number 4 on the list. And the 5th one on this one was admin privileges, to have to give admin rights to the administrators, that they can create those classes. Maybe the teachers would not have those rights because they will be in the class and they can manage the stuff around the class, like attendance and other communications, but they can't remove a class or create a class. And then some super admin functionality. That's 5. What am I missing here? Bilal, you said 6.
Educator are able to create the institute.
Creating the institution was missed basically. So
Yep.
create institution, add student, add teacher, add course material, add
Classes.
create a class, and then admin rights
Privilege.
on different users. Okay, so that makes sense. If we all agree on this, what the next course of action would be is that you guys go ahead and start doing your your bits after this, which means the creative team will be working on the UIs from this point onwards. So create me some beautiful UIs, and the backend team, if you guys can carry on with deciding on the tech stack, what tech stack we are, the backend and front end team, can you please work together in order to come up with the what tech stack are we going to be using and what framework are we going to be using for developing on the front end, developing the back end, and also managing our workload throughout this time. So I'm expecting the quality team and the back end and the front end to work together on these things, and which will then flow over to the next week. It will, like, when we are talking about the design of the system, the architecture of the system, that is when all of this work which you're doing now, the research work, is going to come into play. Now, obviously, the prototype, Bilal, if we can have it by the end of this week, because this week is the ideation and the prototype, and also work with the front and the back end team on the ideation further to see if you guys see any challenges or anything which you which will need further support or further discussion. And we will all reconvene in another call tomorrow or the day after tomorrow to summarize what we have done this week. Now, I know you guys will have your own stand-ups and stuff and your own meetings, but maybe I will have a meeting with you guys towards the end of the week to summarize what we have done, and maybe if we have some level of completion on the UIs, then we can do a little demo. So I'm expecting all sides to give me something in our next meeting. If it's the UI from the creative side, if it is the tech stacks and discussion around that from the backend and front end, and if the quality team wants to, discuss and do a bit of homework on how do they position their quality testing approach, and how can they embed all of the testing into the process from day one, from now. So effectively a strategy around that. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who is excited about this project?
Very excited, sir.
Danny is very excited,
I
sir.
can't see, some people's faces are not telling me that they're excited.
Maybe because they're not.
I am as excited as Danny right now.
we probably need to name some of those people like, buzz killers. I'm very excited about it. I think we can do it. I think we can achieve it by the end of 6 weeks. We will have beautiful product to show for, and I think you are the best team to deliver that. So I don't have any doubts about that. But doubtless we will have challenges. We will have challenges along the way, and we will have to overcome those challenges together as a team.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, all. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Speak to you guys soon.
All right, sir.